Welcome to the Raw Footage Oscar Preview 2022, a series of videos where I will be giving my opinions on the forthcoming Oscar ceremony, saying what I think will win, what I think should win, and what the Oscars in their infinite wisdom left out of the ceremony altogether. In this particular video, I will be addressing the international feature competition, which has a very specific set of rules which I will be following. The way the International Feature Oscar works is that each country or territory recognised by the Academy has the opportunity to submit one film for consideration in the International Feature Oscar race. This year there were 93 countries which submitted a film, but the fact that each country only manages to submit one film per cycle means that sometimes high profile and well respected films get left out. The most notorious this year is that Pedro Almodovar's film Parallel Mothers was not submitted by Spain. And sometimes you have the even weirder situation where a country refuses to submit a film altogether, despite the fact they might have a very adequate submission to make. For example, this year the Philippines did not submit a film at all, despite the fact that the Filipino film Fangirl is readily available on Netflix and is actually rather good. Once all submissions have been made, they are whittled down to a 15-film shortlist, which then gets voted on by the Academy at large. And this is the list that I will be using for this preview video. So this means I will not be considering some pretty high profile films which did not make this 15 film shortlist, like the Cannes winning film Titane, which France submitted, the Berlin winning film Bad Luck Banging or Loony Porn, which Romania submitted, and the latest film from acclaimed Thai director Apichatpong Weerasethakul, which was actually submitted by Colombia this year, but that did not make the shortlist either. And I will also not be considering films which I have seen off that 93 film submission list and are rather good, but had absolutely no hope of actually getting on the 15 film shortlist. Like the film Clara Sola from Costa Rica, I think is excellent, but it did not make the final 15 list. And this 15 film shortlist is what I will be selecting from when I give alternative nominations in this category. So let's explore the films which did make the nomination list for International Feature at the 2022 Oscars.
Nominee.
The Hand of God is the latest film from renowned Italian director Paolo Sorrentino, who previously won for The Great Beauty, which, personally speaking, I did not like. And The Hand of God is an autobiographical tale of an aspiring filmmaker growing up in Naples. And as such, I honestly wasn't massively impressed with The Hand of God. Yes, the cinematography is beautiful, the feel, the look of the film is very, very impressive, but ultimately it's just an autobiographical story, and I don't think there's enough drama and incident in this film to justify this film's existence. So I didn't especially like The Hand of God, and it did not make my personal list of nominees.
Nominee.
Lunana, A Yak in the Classroom is the first time that Bhutan has been nominated for the International Feature Oscar, and only the second time that they've submitted a film at all. And honestly, I have a major issue with the fact that Lunana, A Yak in the Classroom made the nomination list. Firstly, I don't think it should be eligible. One of the rules is that a film that is submitted by a country must be released in that country in the awards cycle that it is being submitted in. And Bhutan tried to submit this film last year, but an administrative error meant that it was disqualified. So they submitted it again the next year, and it was accepted and made it all the way to a nomination. So if it was eligible last year, I don't think it should be eligible this year. So on a technical level, I don't think Lunana should be a nominee. And also on an artistic level, at the end of the day, Lunana, A Yak in the Classroom is a very typical heartwarming story of a teacher who goes to the remote Himalayas, the remotest school in the world, and has his heart warmed by the locals, and he learns to live at one with nature away from the big city life. I mean, in as much as you can have a big city in a country like Bhutan. I mean, it's pretty typical, pretty basic stuff. And I just don't think it's executed well enough to justify its inclusion as a nominee. So on a technical basis and on an artistic basis, I strongly object to the fact that Lunana, A Yak in the Classroom made it to a nomination.
Nominee.
The Worst Person in the World is the third part of director Joachim Trier's Loose Oslo trilogy, and did very well at the Cannes Film Festival, including getting its leading actress Renate Reinsve the Best Actress award. And it was very justified. Renate Reinsve playing a directionless, complicated woman over the course of roughly 4 years, as she falls in and out of love, as she does very inappropriate things, just trying to find her place in the world, trying to find her direction in life. The honesty, the earnestness with which this film is executed, I think is outstanding. It has a level of authenticity to it, which I really, really appreciated. And I did really like The Worst Person in the World. And I think it fully justified its position as one of the nominees in this category.
Snubbed.
Compartment number 6 is a Finnish film, albeit it is mostly in Russian, about a gay female Finnish student who travels from Moscow to the far north of Russia in the Murmansk area within the Arctic Circle in order to look at some rock art, and forms an odd relationship with the very drunk Russian man she has to share a compartment with on this train. The unexpected fellowship you find with fellow travellers, the questions which are raised about each person's personality, each person's direction in life, the fact that this boorish, drunk Russian guy forms an unexpectedly close bond to this gay foreigner. Sex is not on the table, and yet there is still a bond here, there is still friendship here, there's still an intense connection, and all the more intense because it is a short connection. These are only a few days in which this journey will take place. And the way that director Juho Koismanen manages to put everything together, I found really, really intense. I think this is an excellent film, and I think it should have been a nominee for International Feature at this ceremony.
Snubbed.
A Hero is the latest film from legendary Iranian director Asghaf Hardy. And as such, it was something of a surprise that it did not get a nomination. Asghar Farhadi has won the international feature competition twice for the excellent A Separation as well as The Salesman. And yes, I don't think A Hero is among Farhadi's best, but still, the moral complexities and the grey areas, the little things which gradually escalate until they're huge things, making bad decisions for good reasons, or what seem to be good reasons, and everything getting way out of hand. I mean, this is what Farhadi does best, and that's what happens in A Hero, in a story of a man who tries to get himself out of debtor's jail, and things spiral quickly out of control. It's an excellent film, albeit not one of Farhadi's best, but I was still surprised that it didn't get a nomination, and I think it actually deserved a nomination for Best International Feature this year.
Will win.
It's very, very easy to say what will win this category this year. It has to be Drive My Car, directed by Ryusuke Hamaguchi. The fact that this has a Best Picture nomination, a Best Director nomination, and a Best Adapted Screenplay nomination means that the absolute shoo-in of the night on the Oscars is the fact that Drive My Car will win the international feature competition. And it will be a worthy winner. I really liked this story, which is adapted from some Murakami short stories about a grieving theatre director having to be driven about by a younger woman, and an unexpectedly close bond develops between them, and questions of guilt and memory and regret keep coming up. Some of these very long conversations which had in the back of this car are exceptionally good, and this will be a worthy winner. It's not my personal choice. It's not even my personal choice for what is the best Ryusuke Hamaguchi film released this year. Wheel of Fortune and Fantasy, personally, I think is a better film, but it's lost out to the same director in the same cycle. So do check out Wheel of Fortune and Fantasy, but Drive My Car is going to win this category, and it is going to be a worthy winner. It's just not my personal choice.
Should win.
What I think should win is the Danish animated documentary Flea, in which director Jonas Parr Rasmussen interviews a childhood friend who at the age of 15 managed to make his way to the safety of Denmark from Afghanistan. Afghanistan being the graveyard of empires that it always has been, and very dangerous to live in, particularly as in this case this young boy Amin also happens to be gay. So the fact that this gay Afghan immigrant found safety and security in Denmark is a wonderful thing. But he has so much survivor's guilt that he cannot settle down with his potential fiancé, the Danish man he has fallen in love with. He cannot make that final commitment because he feels too guilty about all the things which got left behind. And exploring the immigrant experience, exploring what happens when you are people trafficked, the dangers, the horrors which you have to go through, the indignities you have to go through. In some ways, this is a rather harrowing film, but very, very powerful. And also, it has the layer of safety over it, but the fact that it is animated, it is rotoscoped, does mean that there is a distance, a safety for this film. But regardless, it is an amazing piece of work. I love the film Flea, and I do think it is the best eligible film in this category. I do think it deserves the Oscar for Best International Feature.
Best Foreign Film.
So the nominees for Best International Feature at the 2022 Oscars are Drive My Car from Japan, Flee from Denmark, The Hand of God from Italy, Lunana, A Yak in the Classroom from Bhutan, and The Worst Person in the World from Norway. In my personal Oscar nomination list, I would take out The Hand of God and Lunana and put in Compartment number 6 from Finland and A Hero from Iran. What I think will win is Drive My Car, and what I think should win is the awesome animated documentary Flee. So there is my preview of the International Feature Oscar nominations at the 2022 Oscars, and I will leave you with some honourable mentions from some of the other films which I think are worth checking out from that 15 film shortlist for this category. Do check out the rest of these videos in the playlist as I release them, and do subscribe and comment should you so desire. So that brings this video to a close, and all that remains for me to say is see you next time, where I shine a light on cinema, both obvious and obscure.